In 1978, the world of rock music was turned upside down. Something new and wild had arrived. It came from a debut album by a band from Pasadena, California. The band was Van Halen. The track was called Eruption. It was not a typical song, it was a guitar solo, lasting just 1 minute and 42 seconds. This short piece of music changed everything for guitar players. It was a raw display of power. It was a raw display of speed. It was a raw display of imagination. Listeners had never heard anything quite like it before. It was a statement. It was a challenge. It was a revolution packed into a tiny explosive package that demanded attention from anyone who heard it. The song was almost an accident. It was not originally planned for the album. Eddie Van Halen was in the studio warming up. The recording engineer happened to hit the record button. What he captured was pure lightning in a bottle. The band and their producer, Ted Templeman, heard the playback. They knew instantly it had to be on the record. It was placed right before their cover of You Really Got Me. This 1-2 punch was unstoppable. Eruption served as a shocking introduction to a guitarist who was about to become a global icon. What made Eruption so different from everything that came before it? It was the unique combination of techniques Eddie Van Halen unleashed. The most famous, two-handed tapping. He would use a finger from his picking hand to tap notes directly onto the fretboard. This allowed him to play incredibly fast sequences of notes, arpeggios. It also let him make huge leaps between high and low notes that were impossible with traditional playing. While other players had experimented with tapping, Eddie perfected it. He turned it into a powerful and melodic tool, his signature sound. But tapping was just one part of the puzzle. Hammer-ons, pull-offs. These fretting hand techniques create smooth, fluid runs. He combined these with another trick, artificial harmonics. These are the high-pitched squeals you hear throughout the solo. He achieved these by lightly touching the string with his thumb at the exact moment he picked it. That created a whole new palette of sounds. The guitar screamed and sang. Another key element, his revolutionary use of the tremolo bar, the whammy bar. Eddie used it for extreme dive bombs. He would push the bar all the way down, making the strings go completely slack. This created a sound like a bomb falling from the sky. He would then let it spring back up, sometimes catching it with harmonics on the way. He had such control that he could make the guitar sound like an animal, a machine, a human voice. Finally, all these techniques were delivered with an incredible sense of rhythm and melody. Eruption isn't just a random collection of fast notes, beginning, middle, end. The release of Eruption was like pouring gasoline on a fire for Van Halen's career. It instantly set them apart from every other rock band on the scene. In an era filled with great guitarists, Eddie Van Halen suddenly sounded like he was from another planet. Radio stations started playing the track, especially in the United States. It was not a single. DJs played it anyway because the listener reaction was so strong. People would call in, asking, "What was that?" This incredible buzz created a huge demand to see the band live. Everyone wanted to witness this guitar magic. This one instrumental track became the band's ultimate calling card. It announced the arrival of a new guitar hero and a band with immense power and stage presence. David Lee Roth was the wild frontman, but Eddie was the quiet genius with the explosive guitar. Promoters took notice. Van Halen quickly graduated from small clubs to opening in massive arenas. Soon, they were headlining those same arenas themselves. The song helped their debut sell millions. It established their identity as a fun, high-energy, musically brilliant rock and roll machine. Music magazines plastered Eddie on covers, analyzing his playing and his custom-built guitar, the Frankenstrat. It was the perfect storm of talent, timing, innovation. In the long run, Eruption guaranteed the band's legacy and showed their fearless approach, a raw, unaccompanied guitar solo on their first album. Even with dozens of later hits, the solo remained a cornerstone. Eruption was not just a great solo. It was the foundation upon which the mighty empire of Van Halen was built. The influence of Eruption on other guitar players cannot be overstated. It was a seismic event. A whole generation heard it and had their minds blown. The way they practiced, the sounds they aimed for, their very goals as players changed overnight. The solo became a benchmark, a mountain every serious rock guitarist had to climb. Learning to play Eruption, or parts of it, became a rite of passage worldwide. Many modern guitar heroes point directly to Eruption. Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Slash from Guns N' Roses, Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. The wave of 1980s shredders owed a huge debt to the path Eddie forged. He opened the door to new technical proficiency. A legion of players ran through it. Guitar schools and teachers adapted, blues scales, basic chords, and now how to tap, how to do dive bombs, how to get that signature Brown sound, transcriptions, tablature, breaking it down piece by piece. The mystery was slowly revealed, and players everywhere were hungry for the information. Young players still stumble upon Eruption online. The reaction is often the same as 1978, pure astonishment. It inspires new generations to experiment, modify their gear, and create sounds uniquely their own. Not just what to play, but how to think. It serves as a timeless example of creativity and pushing the boundaries of an instrument. After Eruption hit the airwaves, a frantic search began. Guitar players everywhere wanted to know how Eddie got his tone. This quest for the Brown sound caused a major shift in the musical equipment industry. Players changed the gear they bought. The demand for certain types of guitars, amplifiers, and effects pedals skyrocketed. Manufacturers responded with new designs. Eddie used a homemade Frankenstrat, the body of a Stratocaster with a powerful humbucker pickup, enabling whammy abuse with thick, aggressive tone. Soon, companies mass-produced superstrats, humbuckers, thinner necks for speed, and advanced tremolos like the Floyd Rose to stay in tune after dive bombs. The demand for high-gain amplifiers exploded. Eddie ran a British Marshall very hot, even using a variac to lower voltage for warmer saturated distortion, the holy grail of rock tone. Amp makers added master volumes and extra gain stages so players could get rich overdrive without deafening volume. Key effects became essential. Eddie notably used an MXR Phase 90, that swirling swoosh you hear at the beginning of Eruption, and sales of phasers, flangers, and chorus pedals soared. The gear landscape of the 1980s was shaped by trends Eddie started in 1978. His innovation changed how people played and the tools they used. His innovative spirit did not just change technique, it rewired the industry itself. While Eruption was praised by millions of fans and aspiring musicians, it was not universally loved. Some critics saw it as a flashy display with no real musical substance, all speed and noise, using words like showy, self-indulgent, gimmicky. For them, technique replaced feeling, style over substance, part of a larger debate in music at the time. They preferred the blues-based, soulful playing of the 60s and early 70s. In their view, Eruption moved away from melody toward empty acrobatics. There were occasional arguments about who really invented tapping, pointing to earlier players in other genres. Some fellow musicians were quietly critical, feeling pressure to compete at lightning speed, and worrying it distracted from writing good songs. Eddie's massive shadow could be intimidating. The phenomenon set a new standard not everyone wanted to meet. Despite this, the overwhelming response was positive. The sheer excitement and innovation were undeniable. For every critic who called it soulless, 1,000 young fans found it inspiring and full of life. Over time, most criticisms faded. Eruption is now widely regarded as a landmark, studied and celebrated for creativity and influence. Yet the debate it spawned, technique versus emotion, continues to this day. Decades after its release, Eruption is as relevant as ever. It remains a fundamental study piece. Teachers still use it to introduce tapping, dive bombs, artificial harmonics. For many, learning it is a major milestone, a workout for both hands demanding speed, accuracy, control. Its ideas are in the DNA of rock and metal. Even players who never heard it use techniques Eddie popularized. To get a similar tone, start with a guitar with a humbucker in the bridge. Use a tube amplifier set to crunchy overdrive with plenty of mid-range. Do not be afraid to turn the gain up. Add a phaser pedal for the swirling sound. Use a light picking touch and ride your volume knob to clean up. The Brown sound is a hot amp with precise control. To play it, master chord techniques, alternate picking, clean fast hammer-ons pull-offs, Tapping. Start slow with a metronome, keep timing even, mute unused strings. Get comfortable with a tremolo bar. Practice slow, controlled dives, and learn to bring the pitch back accurately. Build finger strength and stamina. Break it down. First listen repeatedly. Then find reliable tablature. Find a video lesson. Divide the solo into small phrases. Practice each phrase very slowly for clean notes. Gradually increase speed with a metronome, then start stitching phrases together. Be patient. Eruption was a lifetime of practice and innovation condensed under 2 minutes. It will teach you speed, creativity, control, and how to find your own voice.